Hi, hello, Nurse Yourselfers. I have a special surprise today. I'm here with Sherry Tutkus, who's going to share with us her thoughts of holistic healing and the amazing work that she does. So, welcome, Sherry. Hi. Thank you so much
Hi,
for
how are
being
you?
here.
Thank you so much for having me on. Really, really an honor. Anytime I can share the message of whole health healing,
Yes,
right?
yes, whole
Yeah.
health. That's what holistic is about. Some people are confused. What is holistic healing? Yes, whole health. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about you and your background.
Yes, so my background, so my name is Sherry Tutkus. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a cannabis nurse, cannabis patient, advocate, activist, and believe it or not, a psychedelic nurse teaching about plant medicines. Stigma fighter, I call it, and I'm also a podcaster. So I have a podcast where I share hope and inspiration for growth and healing around plant medicines and other progressive tools. So
Ah,
really, it's been a journey to get to this space for sure.
yes, I can only imagine. I loved how you said stigma fighter. Is that what I heard?
Mm,
Yes, because
yes.
there is such a stigma still. And I think people are on the fence whether they believe or not, or jump in or try it, or where do they land, right? I'm sure
Yeah.
you get a lot of that. So tell me more about that. I'm curious what you mean, stigma fighter.
Well, okay, well, stigma fighter. So if you think about cannabis, plant medicine in particular, has been prohibited and banned for a very long time. Prior to 1937, cannabis and hemp was legal. Actually, it was prescribed by doctors. It was in the US pharmacopoeia up until 1937 when they prohibited. And they prohibited cannabis for a lot of different reasons. You know, it was racially motivated, but also it had to do with the big other industries, such as the paper industry, the tobacco industry, the alcohol industry, and the pharmaceutical industry. So it's a big, huge combination of all these different things that were a threat to profits. And so they prohibited this plant, which actually can be, is used, and has been scientifically proven over time, is medicine.
Mhm.
Is medicine. So basically, cannabis saved my life.
Mm.
Psychedelics helped me to start living again. And that's a whole other show in itself. But the
Yeah.
bottom line is that I became a patient on the other side of the bed in 2012 and I almost died. I did everything that the doctors told me to do. I'm also a holistic nurse, that whole health, where I practice what I preach. And it's really about biopsychosocial spiritual healing. So, the interesting thing about my story is I did everything that the doctors told me to do. Plus, I engaged in holistic medicine, integrative complementary medicine, where I did everything I could to get better and nothing worked. So, chiropractic care, acupuncture, massage, aromatherapy, essential oils, energy work, shamanic healing. Truly, nothing worked. And I didn't understand why until cannabis came into my life. When cannabis came into my life, whole plant medicine, what ended up happening is those things that didn't work started to work again. And once they worked, I had the aha moment of why? Why didn't they teach us this? Why aren't we learning this? Why is this so real? Why did this plant make everything start to work better? Why am I able to come off my pharmaceuticals? Why are these conditions starting to resolve? And that's when I started to take a deep dive into cannabis, plant medicine, and I discovered something that I never learned in nursing school. I learned that we have an endocannabinoid system, and this system is the master regulatory system that regulates all 11 organ systems, our immune system, and all of the neurotransmitter signaling systems that give messages to tell our body to either do something or not do something. Because the plant was prohibited, we were prohibited from learning this. And so there was a big, huge gap of all of a sudden being sick and suffering in the what I call it survival mode to now having hope and inspiration for growth and healing, growing in health, and now in the thrive mode. And so I needed to learn about this. And the most important thing that I learned about why cannabis works as medicine is because we have an endocannabinoid system. And we don't have an endocannabinoid system because of the cannabis plant. We have an endocannabinoid system because we make molecules in our body just like the plant. This was the shoe drop, and I'll stop talking. The plant makes THC. We make a molecule called anandamide. The THC molecule and the anandamide molecule have the exact same molecular structure, and go in and unlock the door attached to these neurotransmitters, the largest neurotransmitter signaling system. We have cannabinoid receptors on all the cell surfaces of all 11 organ systems, and there's neurotransmitter signaling junction sites. So you can imagine we make components in our body just like the plant, upon demand, on off switch all day long, giving messages for your body to do this, your body to stop doing this, your body to do this. So if you're not making enough of your own internal endogenous cannabinoids, what happens? Messages don't get where they need to go. And our body's always trying to autocorrect and improve itself. This affects mind, body, spirit. This plant comes in to supplement what we're not making. And what the goal is to stimulate your own body to produce its own internal endogenous cannabinoids, very similar to the plant. So the endocannabinoid system, pretty much once you go down that rabbit hole, I mean, people say, oh, we're just scratching the tip of the iceberg. Well, really, we're only standing on it. Like we have our picks out now because the research is evolving and is developing and is advancing every day. The more I learn about cannabis and plant medicines, the more I realize I don't know. And that truly inspires me to keep on this journey because it truly is about what? Living your best life, decreasing suffering, improving quality of life. And it requires whole health, not HOLE. It's the hole in the soul. Whole, WHOLE, biopsychosocial, spiritual, mind, body, spirit.
Mhm. Yes, I'm definitely a fan of whole health, and I'm really impressed with what you've said because a lot of it I didn't know. And so I'm actually fascinated and curious and like to know more. You clearly know your stuff, and I'm so happy to hear that there's research up and coming and more knowledge
Yeah.
out there because I know there's such a need and it's helped so many people. I remember in middle school, one of my great friends, her mother was very sick with cancer and couldn't stand any smells or couldn't hold down food. And the only thing that helped her, I remember, was cannabis. She said, yes, my mom
Yeah.
uses cannabis because she has to eat. That's the only thing really keeping her alive or allowing her to have some
Yeah.
quality of life. So I really appreciate you sharing your story. And I'm
Oh,
curious
yeah.
what type of people do you help or what do you find as
Well,
impact of this work?
so basically, I founded the Green Nurse in 2016, which is a whole health consulting agency of registered nurses that teach on the endocannabinoid system and the safe utilization of cannabis, other plant medicines, and how to incorporate that into a health and wellness lifestyle, as well as relieving suffering and improving quality of life. So we also did medical cards, we did coaching, we did consulting, we've done product formulations in the cannabis space for CBD, also doing podcasting to educate. So what ended up happening was my business partner now, Elizabeth Mack, is on the West Coast in San Diego, and she built her practice, Holistic Caring. So now it ended up happening, her practice, which was an amazing set of educational programs that are self-paced. She's created global clinician programs for global clinicians. She's created a cannabis nurse coaching certificate program for nurses. She has industry professional programs and a whole host of other programs of cannabis in various different disease states and how it works. So that educational platform I really wanted for my people in the East Coast. And so we just started to work together and it just made sense that we merge. So now it's Holistic Caring and the Green Nurse. And we do provide a lot of different things. People are making great medicines. People are selling amazing cannabis formulations, but no one is truly educating patients on how to use cannabis as medicine. So we work with patients and providers. We work with patients teaching them how to use cannabis wherever they're at, wherever they have access to. It's really about safe consumption and pairing it with conventional medicine to make things work together. It doesn't have to be one or the other. We also do provider coaching and education, training doctors across the globe, clinicians, health professionals, anyone that wants to learn about cannabis as medicine, and also particularly nurses. Really, really interesting, the nursing aspect of it. In 2018, the National Council State Boards of Nursing that put out a call to action. And the National Council State Boards of Nursing is the nursing regulatory board that has all nurses take their exam. And they put out a call to action that all nurses, nurse practitioners, nursing students must have 6 essential areas of knowledge when it comes to cannabis as medicine. That's huge. It's a 64-page document in the Journal of Nursing Regulation. So this is another group of people that I really, really want to inspire, because nurses by nature are holistic nurses. By nature, we care for the whole purpose, the whole patient, the whole person. The essence of nursing is human caring, and that's caring for the entire human experience, and it encompasses that biopsychosocial spiritual aspect. And so what I'm trying to inspire nurses to do is just to add this little repertoire of knowledge into what you're already doing. Because if the endocannabinoid system is the most important system in your body, you have an obligation to know what supports it and what doesn't. And literally, if things aren't supporting the endocannabinoid system, different therapies, you can mitigate that by supporting the body with plant phytocannabinoids. So that's what we do, patients, providers, and we're actually coming out with a product line. We're working with a company in Australia called Canum, and we have actually formulated products that have been approved by Professor Lumir. Lumir Hannes is an Israeli scientist and researcher that worked with Raphael Mechoulam, and he's the one that discovered the anandamide molecule, the molecule that mimics THC. So that's really fascinating. We're really getting out there and educating, bringing different clinicians together for the main reason is cannabis is medicine. It can be used as medicine. There's the use of cannabis and the misuse. And we're here as clinicians to teach the appropriate, safe use of cannabis.
Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do and for all your passion and your knowledge. And I know you're helping many people out there. And I'd love to hear lastly, what would you say to our group members specifically about holistic healing in general? What I have found is people seem to find their way. You kind of mentioned how you kind of stumbled through different alternative healing practices and came across cannabis that is what actually worked for you. And what I have found is that a similar journey for me. I have tried various things, and certain times in my life, something works best than another as far as my healing. And I've been very open to trying different things, and I try and tell other people to find their own path and find their own way. But what would you tell?
So this is the part that's really cool. So I've been a nurse for 35 years, which is a really long time. From pediatrics to geriatrics, inside the hospital, outside the hospital community. I've done a lot. And so, what patients have come to me and have asked me over and over and over in this space is they'll say, Sherry, does this work? Does this work? Does this work? And I look at them and I go, you know what? It all works. And none of it works. We have to take that journey together to find out what works for you, because we can find science. We can find research. We can find things that support the body and all of these different holistic modalities. And our job as clinicians is to guide patients down the path to discover their own healing. Healing isn't the absence of illness or disease. It's doing the best you can with what you have right here, right now. And our job is to teach our patients how to fish, right? We give them the pole, we give them the worm, and we give them all of these different options to start to explore. And what ends up happening is over time, change your mind. Change how you think and really seek out different ways and just explore it. People need to hear things. I think they said 7 times before they get it. 90% of what you learn is gone within 30 days, and 70% of what you learn is gone within 48 hours. So, really, we're only retaining so much knowledge. So just get out there. And even as a clinician, right? Our role, Jean Watson is a human theorist who came up with the human caring theory, that the essence of nursing is human caring for the entire human experience. She has the curative processes, which is the curative processes, the caring processes to cherish your patient and be in that space of healing. And her number one process is loving kindness to self and others, to self. So as nurses, right, we need to be that face of peace. We are that healing environment. And we're only able to get to that space when we allow ourselves to open up to different aspects of healing, and then we have the capability of holding space for patients with where they're at and offering new suggestions so they can reach new levels of wellness.
Wow, love that. You just gave us a ton of wisdom. Woohoo, Sherry. I know you're doing
Woo!
great work. Are you a Caritas coach? I'm such a Dr. Watson fan too.
Oh gosh, no, I'm not a Caritas coach, but I've been
Okay.
studying her work
Mhm.
because her work, the nursing caring theory, is the universal nursing theory on caring. And it most applies to cannabis nursing. So, as we start to push the needle towards legalization and really start to get this into the conventional system, we know that academia nurses and clinicians want to, have a little bit more nursing theory. So, I've been studying it, I've been applying it, and it really makes sense specifically for cannabis nursing because in the conventional system, what are we focused on? Body parts. I call it parts, pills, procedures, right? If we're lucky, we get to mental, emotional health, but usually not unless someone's in a crisis. And rarely do we get to spiritual health unless someone's dying. And what if we flip the switch and we went the other way? We started off with spirituality, connecting with that patient. What's important to you? How do you want to live your life? Holding their hand. That ripples over into mental, emotional. It gives them that hope. It inspires them. And then they're able to grow and heal and to try to do something different. So it's really reaching people where they're at to help them to have agency to make decisions that are going to improve their quality of life, you know? And one of my things too, I'm about stigma fighting is I am here to decrease stigma around what it means to feel good and be high because we all deserve to feel good. And I invite people to explore this an acronym. Hi, consider it. H is for hope, I is for inspiration, G is for growth, and H is for healing. Isn't that what we want our patients? We want our patients to feel good and to thrive.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thank you so
You're
much for
welcome.
your time today. I learned a
Thank
lot and really appreciated talking with you today and want to encourage you to continue your amazing work. And I have a I have an inkling you're going to do quite some impressive stuff in the future. So thank you so much.
thank you so much. I appreciate being on and thank you for what you do. I can't
Yes.
wait to have you on my podcast.
Yes, let's do it.